That's pretty good.
Starfield isn't a perfect game. No game is. That said, for a game to have this much ambition and actually pull off almost everything it set out to accomplish is a remarkable achievement. I haven't even talked about some of the game's most interesting elements, such as how it approaches New Game Plus, which I can't wait for more players to see. Starfield is a triumph that I'm confident players will be exploring for years to come, not only because it will remain incredibly compelling but because it will take that long to see anywhere near everything it has to offer.
100%?
Yes?
As unfathomably vast and boundless as the subject matter it covers, Starfield raises the bar for its genre and for the medium as a whole in countless ways.
Yeah, man, I think Rich is beautiful because he's got good brains.
When it comes to central storylines, this is easily the best Bethesda quest yet.
You sure about that? You sure about that?
Starfield is a massive space-based RPG with a galaxy of content to explore, but it has a surprising lack of ambition.
No one could look at me without dying laughing? You sure about that?
Starfield is, in a nutshell, everything it needed to be and much more than we could have hoped for.
It's never a great sign when someone recommends a game on the grounds that it gets good after more than a dozen hours, but that's very much the kind of game Starfield is, and I do recommend it.
It gets better.
It gets better.
It gets better. It gets better.
It gets better.
It gets better.
It gets better.
It does get better.
It gets better.
It gets better.
It gets better.
It really does get better.
It gets better.
It does get better.
It definitely gets better.
A disappointingly low-tech space exploration game that relies too much on the legacy of Skyrim and Fallout and lacks the innovation and imagination to do its concept justice.
Bro, I'm straight up not having a good time.
Starfield is far from meeting the expectations it has generated over the years.
If you're the kind of person who thinks video games peaked with Fallout 3's launch version and they've required neither evolution nor improvement since, this game is absolutely for you. If you believe Bethesda doesn't need to exhibit growth as an artistic outlet and hasn't had to change a thing about the way it's made games since 2008, I can safely say you'll adore Starfield because it's all that a Bethesda game has always been. And literally nothing more. Starfield is a shallow ocean, hiding its lack of creative ambition behind the physical size of a universe that's minuscule where it counts. In short, it's everything a fan of these games could love.
Yeah, man, I think Rich is beautiful because he's got good brains.
Looked at SteamDB scores, almost mixed reviews, under 70%. I've said to me, it can't be that bad. Well, I've tried far it's bad. Performance are awful on PC, bad AI, hilarious actually, lots of bugs, main quest underwhelming and so on. Really small amount of good things.
But the people are retarded.
Repetitive and boring with outdated graphics. Was excited to play but very disappointed. Yawn.
Boring, repetitive, shallow, terrible writing, and buggy. The illusion of choice is everywhere. Try going different directions with dialogue and get same results. The game almost always funnels you to where it wants you to be. I do not understand how anyone with a brain who has played modern games, or Baldur's Gate 3, for example, could enjoy this shit. The fact that critics say they love it is evidence of corruption.
Bro, I'm straight up not having a good time.
Terrible, uninteresting, bugged and poorly executed game.
Dated game mechanics, terrible writing, poorly optimized.
OF. The obsession with open-world games and exploration has run its course. It's not really exploration if there's never anything new or meaningful to engage with, it's just mindless task management and traversal.
Great game. Runs perfectly on Xbox Series X.
Mierda.
I love sci-fi. Therefore I was really hyped for Starfield. After 60 hours I have to say, I like it. Did exploration for a while. But after 3 or 4 planets it gets repetitive. But simply following quests is where the game shines.
It does get better.
Boring game, shit, can't fly into planet atmosphere. If you want a space game just play SC despite it being an alpha, it is way better.
It really does get better.
A true RPG, where you write your story and play your character. The main story, despite being short, is quite interesting, but what really surprises is the huge number of side missions, each with a fascinating narrative in its own way. Yes, Bethesda nailed a masterpiece.
Oh god, it's so good. So good.
That game made me buy a PS5.
It gets better.
We should have learned by now. Bethesda does not care about making polished games. That is not why they are in this business.
It gets better.
On Series S it is so amazing. Huge open worlds, very Bethesda gameplay. You cannot miss out.
So good and tasty.
Amazing game. I normally feel overwhelmed in games like this, but this one I can manage. Combat is satisfying but could use some vehicles. A couple of call improvements would be useful, but damn good as it is.
Another Bethesda masterpiece. What can I say? They know how to deeply immerse you in the RPG experience.
It's got all of the quirks and features of Fallout 4. Wooden and PC wooden dialogue. If you have an itch to play a decade-old RPG with a fast travel space theme, this should scratch it.
It gets better.
Amazing game.
Thanks, but I value my time too much to waste it on this download simulator.
Best Bethesda game I ever played. I love the story, side quests, ship build, graphic and performance/gameplay.
Sarah rejected me. My heart is broken. 5 stars.
It gets better.
7 out of 10. Best 7 out of 10 game ever. IGN is trash.
Oh god, it's so good.
Crashes a lot. The game crashes more and more as you get further, and Bethesda refuses to acknowledge the problem. Don't bother purchasing or playing till crashes a lot. The game crashes more and more as you get further, and Bethesda refuses to acknowledge the problem. Don't bother purchasing or playing till this issue is fixed.
It does get better.
Something missing. I love Bethesda RPGs, and I've been anticipating Starfield's release since it was announced. Unfortunately, Starfield seems to be following the quantity over quality blueprint that has plagued so many modern games. This game is absolutely massive but feels so hollow at the same time. The gameplay is basic, the writing is bland, and the world building feels shallow. The pacing is all sorts of bad. I feel like I'm in the menus more than I'm actually playing the game. The enemies are incredibly boilerplate, with little aesthetic or practical differences. The performance also feels pretty unoptimized. The combat may actually be the most fun part of this game, but it certainly isn't very standout when compared to others. I want to love this game, but doing so feels like a chore.
That's no good. So what do? First, you say no. Then, you get out of there.
Crashes still after first patch. Before the first update I had no issues with crashing. Now the game freezes or dashboards every 10 minutes or less. Boarding option for my ship is also now replaced with inaccessible. Traveling to an outpost and wanting to build is also broken. I love this game, but in this state it's sadly unplayable. Also playing on a Series S.
It really does get better.
Patches are fixing the wrong things. Getting rid of glitches, but not getting rid of bugs that won't let me complete missions. Why get rid of glitches in a single-player game? Bethesda didn't get rid of them in Skyrim, so why now?
It does get better.
Hey, that's pretty good.
I rate Starfield 5.5 out of 10, an okay if mediocre BGS game that has its moments, but feels like a regression in quality from previous BGS titles. It's a mile wide and an inch deep. Story, quests and lore feel half-hearted, cut short for time and bland. Bethesda created the lore for this game, and chose the most boring time to start your adventure. Colony wars are over. No mechs or armies with weaponized aliens.
It gets better.
The game's design is really bad. There are so many extra steps to do simple things. I feel sad when I say this game is really mid-level. I was really hyped. P.S. You can be whoever you want to be, so I am a United Colonies Ranger with a specialty in corporation thievery. Oh, I was a space pirate at some point too. Lore inconsistencies.
Modders will fix it is enabling this behavior of releasing half-made games.
10 out of 10 would buy again for Sarah Morgan.
Give your meat a good old rub. That's it. Nice and hot. Hot and spicy meat. Yeah, boy.
A game that keeps you thinking oh one more thing for several hours is an awesome in-depth game. It's that simple.
One more thing!
ESG score 11 out of 10. Game score 4 out of 10.
122.4 hours. I did all the major quests and most side quests in the major cities. I played through twice and all in all it's good. They could have done with one planet what they have done with 1,000.
100%?
Yes.